Nicole and Phil, stay with me, but you've got global issues that continue to affect the markets. The fact that you have the Dow up almost 4% for 3 days seems to be a shock to me, Jim. I don't know about you.
Well, I think what the markets are saying is that the U.S. economy is in good shape. The news is good, and
the Afghan-Iraq wars.
Kimberly?
Kucinich is always sort of the other voice in this that says, oh, let's shut the whole operation down. Let's shut down all the costs. That's not going to happen. It's not realistic. It plays to his followers, his supporters. Ultimately irrelevant in terms of the UAE picking up costs. Well, they haven't exactly been 100% dedicated and straight on message. Initially, they said they were with us 100%. Then there was some backpedaling on that, saying perhaps this has gone too far. The costs are enormous. The bottom line is the U.S. is going to have to step up and pay for all of it. And that's what happens anytime we engage in one of these conflicts. To protect our interests, we have to bankroll the rest of the international community.
Jim?
Yeah, I'd like to ask one question. Everything that we're doing in the Middle East is to help the Saudis, them quietly, and saying as the price of gas goes up, an American question about it. You're paying for this.
Rick Leventhal, such a regulated industry as well. Jeff Block, thank you very much. A great report. Now, real quick, before we go to break, I do want to ask you, Jim, about the issue of inflation. We talk a lot about the Fed and inflation, but that is inflation.
Yeah,
Food
absolutely.
price inflation. That's going to hit us.
Yeah, and it's economy psychologically and really.
It's a consumer issue.
It absolutely is. That's who it affects. The people are trying to put food on the table, okay? Families, people who are making purchases decisions, trying to balance their monthly budgets, trying to live within their means and making choices about what they're going to be able to afford and what they should cut out. And you see the direct impact. Come on. This guy's a businessman. He's turning away business because it'll put him at a loss. That's how serious this is.
Yeah, well, we're going to take it. Companies, nuclear power companies. We've had 2 reactors that are coming up in Georgia. So these already give us power in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's a little bit of hysteria, but well placed. We're going to check out these facilities, but ultimately we will move forward because we have to. In terms of having a diversified approach to energy, nuclear can be a safe and very viable option, especially when you look at the cost-benefit analysis in terms of what you can get out of it for what it costs to run it. So it's something that I remained very optimistic about for the future, and we will get through this Japan crisis.
Mayor Bloomberg said, you know, if you want to cut nuclear power, cut Indian Point, sure, we're going to get the power from Manhattan.
Exactly.
That's exactly what he said. He's not wrong. All right, well, I'll talk with the supermodel and the businesswoman exclusively. You sell in some of the biggest retailers.
Product that speaks for itself.
Because if it's not good, then what's going to propel?
Exactly. I wouldn't care if Lady Gaga was wearing it, if their own also lifestyles, you know.
Now, what about the economy? We were talking about that off camera in terms of a lot of people are kind of, you know, maybe nervous about starting a business or doing something with the economy the way it is now. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I actually think the things is that we should never be afraid of change, because there is in change we made. I would say this is the time to actually create something that is small, that you can handle and that you can take care of. And so that, and it will, right? And it will. And when it does that.
Said recently in an article you were quoted as saying that you don't want to be known as the famous supermodel. And I want to read one quote. Just this came from your husband, Rock.
Very funny, and I've known him for 20 years. But it's a, you know, it was a very interesting show. But it's kind of.
Yeah, let's see. Like I said, author, TV host.